Hello everyone and welcome to another insightful episode of Dojima podcast. We have an interesting guest with us today who is an expert in the field of blockchain investments. You guys might be familiar with the face who watched our previous podcast. Joining us is Alex, representing Gains Associates. Welcome again, Alex.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me again.
Hello, Alex. Welcome again. So, could you please tell our audience a little about yourself, and could you introduce Gains Associates and an overview of what Gains is all about?
Sure. I am 30, Alex, coming from Paris, France. Maybe I'll tell you a bit more about myself. So before crypto, I was actually a professional esports player at League of Legends. Did that for about a year.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it was very interesting. It was quite stressful, actually. I did a small burnout at the end, because you play like a professional athlete, 12 hours focused in front of the computer. So I was actually sweating while playing a video game. I was not really exercising, but still, it's very intense. And you learn a lot about communication, about managing expectations, communicating. So it was very interesting. And then I jumped into crypto, and very quickly created Gains at the very beginning of 2018. We saw many groups like this, and they were actually run by anonymous admins most of the time. And people were trusting these guys with their hard-earned money. And why? Because it felt very risky, and actually many of these groups ended up scamming people. But people felt like it was the right thing to do, because even if you lose your money 2 or 3 times out of 10, if you do a 10x on average, well, you're still profitable, because it was, everything was crazy, everything was doing very well. So there was a lot of energy, a lot of opportunity in the market.
Yeah.
And we were like, this is crazy. We should do the same thing, but be transparent, show our faces, be professional. And this is pretty much what we did. So Gains is about allowing you to invest early so you can wake up late, pretty much. We've heard about Bitcoin and everything, but most of us, we are not that early investor in Bitcoin. We might have caught it in 2017, something like this, but we all wished that we bought it in 2012, something like that, right? When it was 2-digit, maybe 3-digit price.
Yeah.
So there are still a few of those opportunities around, and no one knows about them really, and that's the way it works. No one really knew about Bitcoin in 2012, 11 or something like this. Yeah. So what we do, because we've been in the space for so long, because we have connections to the best VCs and angel investors and influencers and centralized exchanges and incubators, we source the projects very early and we bring them to our community and hopefully, get the best returns.
Thank you, Alex, for that comprehensive introduction to Gains Associates. It's evident that you are paving the way of innovative investment strategies in the blockchain space. Now let's dive into some specifics. Could you share some of the standout projects that Gains Associates has been involved in, and what makes them noteworthy in your eyes?
Yeah, so there are more than 200 projects. Our whole portfolio is public, available. If you go to our website, gains-associates.com, you can go to /portfolio. You will see all the companies we have invested in. I will name a few for you. So we are early investors in Avalanche, Hashgraph, and Quant Network. These 3 projects are now in the top 50. So they're unicorns, billion-dollar valuations in tokens, sometimes in equity. And we brought these projects to our community when no one knew about them. Wow. So these are some of the best wins we've had. And we've had numerous projects do, 50x, 100x. We even had 1,000x in the last bull run, named October. So that was a metaverse project. It was the combination of things that made it a huge success. So the team itself was amazing. They executed very well. And Meta had just announced that they were pivoting to the metaverse.
Yeah.
So, and they had the best exchange listings, they had the best economics, they had amazing graphics, they had amazing partners in crypto, amazing influencers. So everything combined made a very explosive result for sure. So yeah, we have lots of projects. Not all of them are successes, of course. Many are failing. But overall, we have been quite positive, yeah.
I guess, obviously, the team doesn't just invest in projects. you do your due diligence and all that before bringing a project to your community. So I'd like to know, what does the due diligence process look like?
Yeah, so we have a pretty good intuition now that we've been in the space for 6 years. So we can feel how the guy, if he's confident, if he answers well, there's a way to answer with names, numbers precisely that we know if they're good, if they will be able to sell, to convince other people. So there's a first response, which we look for social proof, because that's how projects win, and that's how us humans, we are designed, right? We're social animals, so we want to feel others. You know, if many people watch something, we're like, oh, this must be good. If many people believe in something, it's like, oh, this must be good. So we take a look at the investors, how many of them are very good and so on, what is their reputation. That's the first thing, which, you know, is a basic screening of the projects. Of course, we look at the team. The team is very important, but most importantly, we try to see if there is an X factor, right? Do they have something that others do not? So do they have a very good connection at a big company and they will become business partners? And these guys will mint, you know, hundreds of thousands of NFTs on chain. Or do they have a great connection at an exchange? I don't know. So we look for something that others don't have, you know, how defensible they are. Because in crypto, there's many forks. You know, now with AI, you can reproduce things quite quickly. So the value is really, in my opinion, in the human connections and how you can leverage those. So we try to get to the bottom of this. We have many friends in the industry. We verify the information, and then pretty much we go for it. You know, it's been working well so far. And one last thing is we have our own in-house research team. But again, this is a decentralized community VC. So when we bring a project, not only have we done our own research, but then hundreds of eyes and hands will type and look for everything online, every little detail. And it doesn't happen that often, but a few times people will find something a bit weird. They will dig something. And then, you know, we can ask a question, follow up, and then we can decide to cancel the project if it looks bad. So it actually gives me a lot of confidence, because I know many people are looking at the project, right? When you think about it, the traditional VCs, they have their research team, maybe like 3, 5, 10 people, I don't know. But we have hundreds of guys. So we have much more power behind us, actually. And I think this allows us to make the best decisions.
Thanks for sharing that information. So whoever watching, now you know the thorough process that guides Gain's investment plans. Now I would like to touch on inclusivity, which is a core value for Gains, of course. How is Gains working to make investment truly accessible to a wider audience? What steps have you taken to promote inclusivity in the crypto investment space?
Right, so let me quickly explain a concept. The concept of accredited investor. Something in the traditional world. And something that actually pissed me off personally, made me angry. So pretty much it's only the rich can get richer and invest and have access to the best opportunities.
Yeah.
So you need to show you already have $1 million, or, you know, received 300K during the last 3 years in income. You need to show you have money in order to invest. But maybe you have a decent job, you don't have much money yet, and you're smart and you have a few hours of your time and you want to do your research and you want to invest a few $100. But in the real world, you cannot. And so with crypto and blockchain, we are able to break the barriers to entry and allow anyone with decently small amounts to start investing in projects that have the opportunity of changing their lives. So we're very happy to do that. We are actually going to be regulated soon, so we'll have KYC, just like you can find on the launch pads. You can say we're on a launch pad for early stage deals at the moment. And so that's pretty much it. You do have to stake some Gains tokens to join our tiers. The more you stake, the more you can invest. And there are sometimes exclusive deals for the top 2 tiers.
Wow.
But you can start with the fish tier, which is very affordable at the moment. It's about $600-700 in tokens, which it's like an entry ticket that you don't use. We stake the tokens, and when the staking period ends, you get back the tokens. So you do lock some capital, but you don't spend it.
Nice.
So that's how it works pretty much. And we do intend to create a tier even lower, because in the bull market, the token price is going to go up, and it's going to make the tiers less and less affordable. So what we want to do is we want to have a very affordable tier for small investors to be able to join in, because our strength as well, I talked about it during the due diligence process, but the strength of the community also comes in play when the project is going to launch and afterwards, right? The more we're behind the project, the more powerful we are, the better project we can get into. So if we have, 100 whales, well, it's good. But if we have 2,000 fish, then it's also very, very powerful. So everyone should be able to have access to these life-changing opportunities, no matter their situation. And this is what we're bringing with gains.
True that.
Yes, I totally agree with you. After all, it's supposed to be a decentralized space. Yeah, the opportunities should be at everyone's reach, irrespective of your social status. Okay, thank you very much for that. So, would like to know your opinion of the Web3 space, considering how much the games team invest in projects and all that. What do you think about the Web3 space? Like, how good are the projects you think? How good do you think the projects that keep coming up on the Web3 space are? And General, what's your opinion of what's happening on the Web3 space right now?
The Web3 space is both beautiful and filled of amazingly smart people with a crazy work ethic, and also some of the best cameras I've ever seen. So you have both the good and bad, quite extreme. You have to be careful, but amazing things that can change the world are coming up, right? It's the first time in history that we have a currency that hasn't been emitted by a state. So we are truly at a novel point in history. We are redefining how we exchange value between humans with different rules. And that is very cool. So I love Web3, but at the same time, I understand for people outside, they might not be that literate with the computer. I understand they are scared. So we still have a long way to go to really bring more people, but I think it's only a matter of time. I think, the scanners in a way help us, because we have to create the most robust and anti-fragile systems to protect people from everything.
So, as we come to the end of this exciting podcast, I want to say a big thank you to our amazing guest Alex from Gains Associates. He shared some really cool stuff about investment in the digital world, and I hope you found it interesting. Remember, there are lots of chances out there just waiting for you to find them. With things like Gains leading the way, it's an adventure for everyone.
Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Till next time, I'm Sharon signing off. Stay curious, stay connected, keep exploring the future of Web3.